Okay. I'm back. Messed around with a couple settings. Hopefully that works. I tried connecting to a specific ingest server that I think part of what might have been happening was OBS was saying, well, this is how I get my ingest server, and so I'm going to do it. And Twitch is saying, no, you should actually be going on this one. And OBS is like, no, that's not the one I go to. Automated things are complicated because, like, Twitch, based on my device, just said the second best ingest server is New York, which is probably the one that OBS is trying to go for. But the best one is, in fact, Portland, Oregon. So I don't know. Weba. I don't know what that means. Unless it means we're back. In which case, yeah, we back. Welcome back. Ah, okay. We're back. Yeah, no, that's an awesome relationship to have with your spiritual director, Britt. I hope this all turns out well and that he likes it. I bet it turns out great. You should post pictures of it in the hobby channel on the Discord. We'd love to see it in progress and the finished thing. Oh, excuse me. It's a stole for a soul. Yeah, just don't stole it back from him. Yeah, okay, that joke didn't land. How strange. Wow. It was strange. Have good stuff? Chief, no, okay. No can trade. Find petal, fang, horn, and feather in hunting range. When rain, rare monster appear. I mean, I laughed. Well, that's good. This trading house, many things for trade. Yeah, but you won't trade me. You trade you shiny stone? Okay, so he'll sell us stuff from gold. Ooh, mid-tonics. That's huge. Hardest part is gonna be the cross in the seam in the neck. Yeah, I can see that. Understand all dinosaurs, you know? No, I know that now, though. No, Chief's not. Wait, you're the chief? Good, Chrono come. Night soon and ready for party. Come, Chrono. Hey, Spiritual Andy. Good to see you again. Listen, all new friends here. Strongman Chrono. Friends of Chrono, Roba, Luca, Unga. Now we dance. Hope you're dancing too, chat. There is a scene back there. Most of the time, yes, but some souls are designed to be one continuous piece, so it can vary. Most common is, though, to have a seam there, because then you can get, like, a nice point. Father, does your congregation know that you are a gamer? Yeah. Yeah, they know I'm a nerd. Besides, you are my congregation. Ooga bonga monga meeple. Dance with wind people. You outsiders. But I look give party. Why? Faith cheered joyfully! I'm glad you like the sweatshirt. Good music. We passed down to many generations. Which is true, because if you go... There's a part of the Millennial Fair, I forgot where it was, but there's... No, we saw it. We saw the people dancing and doing the caveman dancing. They're twisting my arm. There's no time to celebrate. Chrono, eat, sing, dance. Don't think Chrono really knows how to dance. Sing and dance all night. Chrono, you try? Special Jurassic pork soup? Good stuff. Ayla fight reptiles. Their leader is Zala. Very smart. Can you make some Let Us Play merch? I don't know if we're quite there yet in terms of size, but maybe someday. The Cairo saw it backwards in the photo and said, Betsad hola. And a Betsad hola to you too. All in Ioka village fight. No fight. Go to Laruba village. Don't know where village is. Always hide. Azala want to destroy Ioka and Laruba. But Ayla no lose. Only when Ayla dead give up. Enough. Meet Chrono today. Good day. Eat, party, sing, dance. Just getting into it. Yum, Chrono, you gotta try some of the poi. Spoon it up. Are you a man or a mouse? Do it in one gulp. It's a lot of soup. I've already had some. What an unpleasant substance, and so many bugs in it. Bugs? What did I just ingest? Chrono, you look for red rock? Rare red rock, sign of power. Ayla, strongest Ioka village, so Ayla's rock. You want? You challenge Ayla. You win, so Ayla gift you. Challenge Ayla? Bring Ayla plenty soup. Party now, so eat. Chrono and Ayla have soup. You work early, you have to hop off. All right, you take care. Hope you have a great rest of your day. If we don't see you. We start now. Push A button much times. Ayla don't know what an A button is. But it ancient ritual. Enough, Chrono, you win. I give you rock. Chrono, eat plenty. Eat last bullet for health. Okay, eat. Maybe eat too much. Oh, shh. Don't be so loud, game. Shh. I think there was more than just bugs in that soup. Good morning. That soup seems to affect humans. Phew. What? Liar. I was perfectly last night. Why does my tummy hurt? Hey, who made the footprints? It's gone! The gate key's been taken! Uh-oh. These prints are left by the thief! Without it, we're stuck here forever! This isn't funny. Let's go see Ayla. Snort. Huh? Chrono? You up already? Oh, too much soup. Sleep like stone. Sorry to wake you, but we've been robbed. What? Must be reptites. Chrono, come with Ayla. We settle with reptites. Who else come? Let's take the giant robot with us. Someone from village. See, we go ask. Come, Chrono. Oh, Pitoni! Raiders, welcome. Come on in, Hope. Factory raid. Is this a factory reset? Biter raid? No. I have flamers set up for defense of that. But good to see you, Beer Fox. We're all great. Had a month-long love thing that was amazing. Not regret, but it's over. Well. Can't do it all. Thank you for the shout-out, Gail. Don't worry, Pitoni. Your trains are safe. I'm a raider! Oh, lurking on Twitch and being a raider. 'Tis a silly thing. Daradog! Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're doing well. Arkino, gone all morning. Bonjour! Uh-oh, it's a French raid. Hey, Audubon, good to see ya. Forest Maze, scary place, many monsters. Oh, let's check out Ayla's gear. Oh yeah, she starts out with really good stuff. Oh, it's a French raid. I herald from the factory raid. Well, we're automating the destruction of our enemies here. So it's kind of like a factory. Kino, what you do? Say it now. Ayla, Kino take Chrono stuff. Why take? Kino like Ayla best. Ayla like Chrono, but Kino not like. Yippee! Miss Ayla, please do not promote violence. Kino, you know why I punish? Ayla no like Kino. No, Ayla like Kino best. No more do bad stuff, okay? That wrong. Ayla? Sorry, Ayla. Sorry, Chrono. Give back stuff to Chrono. No have. Reptites take. Reptites, where they go? Run into trees there. Ayla go too. Kino go back. Kino protect village when Ayla not there. Okay, Ayla. Kino is man. So if Ayla die, Kino chief then. Ayla, you're gentle at heart. Chase reptites. Get back Chrono stuff. Ayla's fun. It's a good view to have though, Andy. To see the way you can learn and grow from a relationship, so. Now, Raiders, did the Peter Tony make it to another planet? Raid from space! Good to see you, Brad. Hope you got home safely. I guess you did. No, he didn't. He didn't even research the rocket. How dare he? This is just an excuse to play Factorio, wasn't it? Wait. Yeah, I'm glad I'm safe home sound, too. It was great being there. But at the end of a long drive, I'm like, oh, glad to be done driving. But the drive sure was pretty with all the fall colors. What does AMA mean? Ask me anything. My drive was surprisingly quick. Hey, that's great. That's always a good feeling. And I suppose by asking what the AMA tag is, you have fulfilled the AMA tag. Yeah, that was surprisingly ironic. Oh, Ayla has no text right now. So many typos, lol. It's the internet. The internet is a typo. The internet is a living typo. Exactly. Hey, Ayla learned Kiss. That's her healing ability. There are two types of people. Those who can infer from incomplete data. This joke is filling me with anticipation. Vittori Dread. I used to have a shirt. Maybe I still have it somewhere buried in my t-shirt drawer, but it said there are 10 types of people in the world. Those who understand binary and those who don't. Melanie, the ADHD, is screaming. The only internet I get hit by is what I learned in public school. Oh, so the TikToks? The latest Fortnite dances? I kid. Oh, I missed a chest. That's sad. Oh well. Or maybe I haven't. Maybe it's still coming up. I was asked if I had seen a TikTok a couple of weeks ago. I told the person I am not on social media. That person looked at me like I had no eyebrows. Well, your eyebrows are very faint, so, no, just how it has destroyed the mental fortitude of generation right after me. Yeah. Yeah, iPad babies. Why did the bishop cross the road? Because he was giving it a blessing. He's the bishop, he crosses everything. BRB meeting time! Okay, we didn't miss this chest. Yay! I don't know. This father joke's gonna need some workshopping to really be complete, but there's something along the lines of, why could the bishop not get to the coffee shop? And the answer being, because it was directly across the street and he can only move in diagonals. There's something there, but I'm a little cooked. I'm glad you appreciated that, Brad. Oh, that joke made you sneeze. Not sure if that's good or bad. Yes. I don't think I've ever had a joke make someone sneeze before. That's a new one. This fight theme is so good. I mean, all the music in this game is so good, but this fight theme is so good. Wait, what? Well, that was just a giant loop. Oh, there's the way out. You know, for being amazed, there was really only ever one choice that we had to make. And even that was just a loop. What is Busted Halo? Busted Halo is the company that I work for. Well, company, ministry, yeah. So if you follow that link, you'll learn more about it. But in general, our motto is faith shared joyfully. So we want to share the true joy of Catholic life. That doesn't necessarily mean like always happy stories, but that true abiding joy of Christ. And so a lot of that is uplifting, positive stuff, but also insights and thoughts. Yeah, so we have a radio show on Sirius Satellite. We have the website. We've done podcast. We have podcasts. We're on all the social medias. So, and I stream on Twitch as part of it. Okay, we actually don't want to fight these guys because they help us. Because they dig these holes. No! I want that. So, it's a super comfy hoodie. Well, I don't think it's in and of itself a hoodie, but we sell hoodies. Oh. Well, we're fighting these weevils now. They're evil! Evil weevils. Weevils aren't evil, they're just weird. Have you ever seen a weevil drill into something? It's kind of funny. Because they have these like round heads in a socket and they're just gonna like wiggle, 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 wiggle. They are if they're in my flower. Okay, that is an evil weevil. I chose the entirely wrong path. All the treasure chests are on the other side. Oh well. Chrono, hit the dinosaur dragon thing with lightning. Evil Weevil Knievel. Yeah, so when you hit a dinosaur with lightning, their power and defense is weakened. You have a treasure chest. I want it. Oh, no one said you had a friend. Do you have a friend? You probably have a friend. Yep, there's your friend. Golly, where did this go? Did it go already? I think mostly just sleep deprivation. And just kind of feeling like short processing. Okay, sometimes I wish Wikipedia would elaborate on things. Me being me, I went to Evil Knievel's Wikipedia page because I wanted to make sure the spelling was right. Fair. He left high school early to work in copper mines, but was later fired for causing a citywide power outage. How? I feel like that's probably knowledge we don't publicly have for a reason. There's probably a some sort of non-disclosure agreement tied to that. Oh no, there's a mushroom. We need to kill it. Down with the mushroom hegemony. Look, even the monkey agrees. Although it's throwing it at us. They do not elaborate. Just leave the sentence, and the story of his life moves on. Is there a citation? Bad monkey. No, I said bad monkey. They did not cite anything. Then how do we know it even happened? You need to put in citation needed then. Reject meeting, embrace monkey. Hey, Blake. I talked about it. I want you to know, seeing you in Vans, I was thinking the whole time, yeah, that's so Father Evan coded. They're so comfy. I'm wearing, like, actual, like, black dress shoes right now because I celebrated a Mass today, but if I'm not celebrating a Mass publicly, I'll typically wear my Vans. They elaborated later in his early life section. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Unlike me at Mass, apparently. The running joke is that I did not elaborate. Which I feel weirdly called out for, considering I both elaborated before the Mass and in my homily. And I'm not saying anything bad, but Father Evan's event, guys. Oh, yeah, no, totally. I get that. Shoes for gaming? Sometimes I do go barefoot in my office. Knievel was fired when he made the Earth Mover do a motorcycle-type wheelie and accidentally drove it into the Butte's main power line, leaving the city without electricity for several hours. That sounds so right. Hey, Juice. How do you get a bulldozer to do a wheelie? By being good. Ah, Robo-Tackle. That sounds good. It was Juice's birthday on Saturday. Hey, happy birthday, Juice. I've done a wheelie lot of Traco. It was a bad idea. You've also done redneck field skiing, which I can't really say anything about because I also did redneck field skiing with you. A save point? That's not ominous. How goes the time traveling? I think we made a mistake. We're in 65 million BC. This seems like going backwards. And also we're stuck here now because we lost our magic rod. Yeah, as you do in this game. I love this game. The look I just gave Gale about what you just said. Done some finagling. You'll be able to go to Doxicon. Hey, that's awesome. And drag along your seminary friend. Oh, does he study at TC? What's this? Those apes have made something this advanced. You've only played some Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross is also really good, but very different in its combat and also its story. But this game, is like some amazing Super Nintendo JRPG action. Oh, the apes have arrived. You're nothing like Ayla. Tell me what this is at once. Tell us all about the key? Sure, why not? Liars. No one would talk that easily. Loosen your tongues. Come, Nizbel. Nizbel? That's your big, strong dude's name? Nizbel? He's studying Seaway? Awesome. Yeah. Tell him to attend. I mean, he'll literally be across the street. I do have a serious question for you, though. Yeah, you can DM me anytime. Yeah, just hit me up on Discord or whatever. Friend of mine played some of this on stream, but I never caught much. Everyone seems to enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic for a reason. You know, 3 great folks are involved in making it. Akira Toriyama did the character and art design. Not Nobuyo Uematsu. He did some of the tracks, but not all of them. It was another composer who did most of the tracks, and I forget. It's the director of, like, the early Final Fantasies. I'm very noticeable. Yeah. I'm sure I will notice you pretty quickly. Yeah, Akira Toriyama will be strongly missed. Excuse me, lightning is my thing. Uh-oh. It's never good when someone gets knocked out. I think, like, is meaning it more in the general sense of, like, famous person death. I mean, Blake was also at GothCon, is probably a little cooked. Nah, I got what you meant. Okay, I'm gonna get everyone healed up before we start hitting him with the lightning. I accidentally built an XL for 3 hours on the phone with my boss and forgot for lunch. So I got off early, but boy oh boy do I hunger. Oof, I can imagine. I'm glad a lot more people than I thought took Monday off to rest, spend more time with everyone. Yeah, it's what I should have done, but I had the 7:30 mass. I considered that my penance, basically, for getting to go. I need to watch the latest episode of Shangri-La Frontier sometime this week. The Hermitcraft peeps just started a new life series called Wildlife. Cool. No, I think, Beer Fox watching Hermitcraft tracks, absolutely. Oh, I actually wanted her to... Well, who did I want? Yeah, no, that's who I wanted. Okay, Kairos is the reason I'm watching Hermitcraft. Well, there you go. I feel like we've got to be getting close. Yes! Got 500 XP. It'll learn Rolo kick, spin kick, drill kick. Install the kicks. We get them on Route 66. The ape speeds Nisbel. Give thing back to Chrono now. You got me to watch the live series via playing on the QFC Minecraft server. Ah. Remember, we reptiles will rule the world. Your days are numbered. I do not detect any damage. I fight anytime, Azala. Ayla no lose. I started watching Mumbo, then Grain. Then I found out that Joe Hill's live streamed on YouTube. Some backdoor vulnerability was found with YouTube for a while. So he pushed people to Twitch for a bit. One day he raided someone who eventually became a good friend, and then social web grew. Yeah, be like that. You leave Chrono? Oh, no fun for Ayla. Thanks, Ayla. I learned a lot from you. Sorry, Chrono. I just tried to be strong now, just like Chrono. Come again, Chrono. Party, eat, dance, fight, fun. Save me from this weird one. Come again, Chrono. Robo and Luca, too. Let's see. It's the dactyl nest. I'm happy for y'all I have no idea which. I know what Hermitcraft is, but that's about it. So these names mean nothing. But I'm glad to hear it's good. Thought I could go. Oh, I know. Welcome. What you have? Let's give him a paddle. And a horn, why not? Sorry about the nerd. Oh, no. Nothing to apologize for. I love when people nerd out about things and are, you know, passionate about their hobbies. I'm just saying, I'm reading these names and I go, Mumbo, then Pearl and Gem, and Etho. It's like, I can read that. I don't know what that means. Not sure how to phrase my question, so let me cook on it a little bit more. I'll DM you when I can. Hey, that's all good. Yes, we're in 2500 or 25 million BC. And they have a gun for sale. I recommend the Life series because it is a hardcore mode battle royale where only they have number X of lives and the last one alive wins. Oh, okay. So happy there are other Hermitcraft people. I haven't watched Hermitcraft in a while, though. Ancient aliens. Gale's figured it out. Whoa. I don't want to fight you, nerds. Hey, Mithril. Jump? Yeah, jumping off a cliff seems like a great idea. I'm hankering for some pizza. Yeah, pizza's almost always the right answer. I don't know what's going on, but it looks like something I would enjoy if I had time to play games. This game is great. It's a classic JRPG. Came out in '95. That's a great emote of Pac-Man eating the pizza. Nope. Bree! Hoy, Raiders! Hoy! You join us as this little fuzzy guy who is the god of war is defeating me. I have done another oopsie since I confessed 10 minutes ago. I believe you. I still can't give you absolution over the internet. But good to see you, Bree. Good to see you, Junie. It was so good to meet you in person over the weekend. Good to see you, Flame. Good to see you again, Blake. I hope y'all had fun. What? Oh, okay, we won. Magic Tab and 5 Ethers. Nice. I am the Master of War. What were you playing today, Bree? These songs be a bop? Yeah, they're great. And they're in mini streams. You live in the Raider box. Right? Yeah, so that's actually, it's not the place between time, it's the end of time. You found some Dreamstone, and then I'll repair the Masamune. How on earth did you get the Masamune and the Dreamstone? No, don't tell me. I don't think my heart could take it. It'll take a while to fix this. I'll lend a hand. I'll watch. Frog's about to become a hoss. This is one of my favorite tracks in the game. Certified banger alert. Time to repair the Masamune. We must process the Dreamstone and activate the sword. You work on the Dreamstone and I'll work on the sword. Okay, leave it to Luca the Great. Question. All right. You're playing Minish Cap. Oh, nice. What dungeon were you on? Man, the arpeggios. Yeah. All right, it's done. Now bring me the Dreamstone. I'm done here too. If one becomes and prefers a certain priest they knew to do it, is that possible to be done? Potentially, yes. That is something that can be done, but it's something you gotta have to like plan. It's not just like you still got to go through like the right processes, but then like you do the yeah, basically like if you make that decision to become, like you can invite a priest, you can talk to the pastor of like where it's happening and be like, hey, can this guy get involved? And there's different responses, and there's nothing that can be guaranteed, but it is a potential option, if that makes sense. I'm gonna lurk as eat the rest of dinner. All right, you have fun. Thank you. Would you potentially, when it's right and just to do so? I would be honored to be there. But like, even if I can't be the one to do it, I would be honored to just be there. All right, let's get started. Very jelly people who can have like an altar and stuff in their house and can have mass there. Very Catholic coded. Yeah, I love celebrating mass in living rooms. I do it basically every time I go home. Not every time, but most of the times when I go home, we'll squeeze in time to do a house mass with my parents. What are we discussing? Inviting a priest to be a part of the sacraments of initiation for an adult. Oh wow, cozy mass. Yeah, it's really cozy when it's just your parents and their 3 cats. I absolutely think Brent should be there. Pretty dope. Feel like it'd be a huge gaffe invite, though, to a lot of peeps who are potentially waiting for it to happen. No, I think, well, some folks are impatient, some folks are patient, you know. Cozy masses are awesome. Oh, sorry to keep you waiting. Giant sword. Oh, take a good look. This is the Masamune. This is your first house mass. It was so comfortable. I'm glad to hear that. Can I take my cat to mass? That's kind of up to your pastor's decision on like the policy of pets in the parish. Awesome. What a weapon. Well, I think that's everything. Okay, Chrono. Let's take the Masamune frog. I hate going to mass alone. But used to it at this point. That's valid. But hopefully you have someone at the parish, you know, and can be like, hey, when you get there. Yeah, we just have to be careful at the house mass that the cats don't get onto the altar. Because this mass was inside church. It was the smallest mass I could ever possibly attend. There you go. Nice. Neb says, what does CSP stand for? It stands for Congregation of St. Paul. It is... So, when you become a religious, when you make your profession, you put initials after your name. So, like, Dominicans put OP for Order of Preachers. Benedictines put OSB for Order of St. Benedict. Paulus, we put CSP for Congregation of St. Paul. It's kind of our... It's the official name that we have. And it's our... it's kind of like a name tag in the Catholic world. So that's what cataholic means. Yeah. Yeah, I'm Catholic. I love cats. Oh, yeah. Not a kid. Blake, everyone loved the freeze-dried things. But especially Blake, I feel, loved the freeze-dried things. Yeah, it's funny that it's Order of Preachers, because technically it's what Order of Preachers is in Latin, but it's Ordo for order, and preacher starts with a P as well, so it's still OP. So like even Congregation of St. Paul, it's technically in Italian for some reason, not Latin. I've never understood that. I'm sure there was a reason at some point, probably because it's the 19th century, but whatever. By smallest I will ever attend, I mean, it was literally just the priest and I. That's awesome. And there are literally rules. Or not rules, but like sections in the germ that describe that kind of mass, which I think is awesome. Oop, almost got a fight. Gonna ask some question about Catholicism, Brujeria. I showed him just how many botanicals were near me, and he was like, Melanie, we gotta get you out of there. Okay. I don't know what that means. Actual factuals, and then you can afford your car. There you go. OP means overpowered. Valid. The old Spanish mission that still celebrates Mass as a stray dog that comes in and out of the church. Nice. If dogs can come, I think cats should be invited too, don't get me wrong, but I can't speak for your pastor about, like, I don't want you to take your cat to Mass and your pastor be like, nope, you're never coming back here. Just the air garden. It just happened. Yep. No, and that's beautiful. Oh, this sword is the Masamune. I must ponder the stern of events. I must ponder my orbs. Remaineth here the night. So this is all flashback. Spent time after an extra evening mass for college students and no one else showed up? Yeah, that happens. Cyrus, are you leaving? Yes, it is time we took back the medal from the Frog King. And I'd like to see that mythical sword for myself. the culture of Latinos that are susceptible to mixing of witchcraft and being Catholic. Ah, Santa Muerte. Ah, okay. Ooh. Yeah, no. No es bueno. But Cyrus, the kingdom needs you. Botanicas are... Stories you go to buy. Ah, that makes sense. Eileen and I need you. You must return to us. As long as there is life in these bones, I shall return, by your leave. Sir Cyrus! We, the Knights of the Square Table, wish you a safe journey. Listen well, my friends. I now entrust the safety of our kingdom to you. Pardon the delay. Shall we be off? Glenn, you be careful too. Be of sound health, Your Majesty.
So, you want the badge of courage, dear Knight of the Kingdom? Well, come and take it. If you can, grab it.
Prepare yourself, Pollywog. On guard. Nirvana, strike!
Ah, how dare you pick on a helpless amphibian? Filthy metal, I won't forget this.
Ah! Beware, Glenn.
Cyrus, the sword, the Masamune.
Yeah, is that the best you can do? Without your sword, you're nothing.
Ah, you haven't beaten me yet.
Cyrus, I'm a goner.
Glenn, escape while I keep them at bay.
But
If you stay, they'll get us both. Go on, Glenn. You'd better worry more about yourself, Cyrus. Come on, Glenn, go! Ah!
Cyrus.
Run, Glenn. The Queen. Take care of Lean.
Cyrus? Cyrus!
Rumpf. What's the matter? Aren't you going to try your luck?
Gah, cat got your tongue, kid. How about it, Magus? Can't you give him a more fitting form?
All right, why not? There's always time for a little fun. Speaking of witchcraft, Magus is doing an evil.
Ah! Gah, spineless wimp.
"10 years hath passed. Can I do it? Alas, I've changed so much. Alas, poor Cyrus." Awaketh Chrono. Though we may fail, let us go to Magus's lair. Thou knowest his power.
Nothing can beat science.
Don't know about that. We won't be beaten by a bad guy. Leaving a lurk. Hey, thank you so much, Junie. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's just listen to this tune for a bit. Yeah, Frog's theme is, I think, my favorite of the personal tracks of the heroes. But yeah, there's a lot of... I mean, throughout history, there has always been folk religion, or folk magic that gets kind of coupled up with religion. I'm not saying that it like justifies it or makes it okay. It's just it is a reality, I think, of human life that I think it offers a semblance of sort of control over the world, or of our lives at least. So it's understanding that and saying, okay, well, if we and like inviting people to a sense of actually surrendering within that, it like helps. And, you know, we remember that Christ has won. Like, yeah, there's freaky stuff out there in the world, but Christ has won. So it's... how do I... I didn't need to go here. Nah, I'd win. No, it's more like, nah, I've won. I went the wrong way. I was like, ah, okay, now we have Frog. We can go fight Magus. Like, Magus is in the same time zone. And that's what I'm going to call them. Not year, not time period. Time zone. Yeah, redemption is incredibly powerful. Shout out to baptism. God would be my favorite of the first sacrament to be received. It's time for my dad communion. If you're dead, bring up Heavenly Father. My mama don't like you, and she likes everyone. Oh, sickest burn. Being kicked out of the office. Worked too hard. Okay, well, take care, Bren. Have a great rest of your day. I don't remember how I'm supposed to get back to Magus's castle. There is a iconographer I quite like, and she has a sticker that's a sticker of the Theotokos Mary, and it says, well, at least Mom loves me. Mary stepping on the snake. I tread where I please. Okay, that's 1,000. That's the future. That's lean square. Huh, okay. I gotta think through this for a moment. So we don't have a portal to get us to 600 AD on the other continent, which is where Magus's castle is. So we have to find one. So let's go to the continent where his castle was, but in the future. Probably has something similar to a Berkdu. But what makes the sacrament invalid? When its matter and form is not met. Like, I know the matter and form, but does anything else? No, not really. Like, at its core, that is what's most essential. It might make it... so there's valid and licit. Valid means that the grace has been conferred. So, like, the bare minimum for confession for the form is, I absolve you from your sins in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But that doesn't necessarily make it... Like, in an ordinary circumstance, that doesn't necessarily make it licit because you're supposed to use the full prayer. In an emergency, you can shorten it because of emergency. So there's that sense of, like, is it legally approved versus did the grace happen? So you can have something that's valid but not licit. So, like, you could... yeah, so, like, maybe it doesn't meet the formal structure and rules and expectations, etc. in the church, but still counts. Our Lady has crushed the head of serpent. Let's crush these beers. I don't think it quite works that way. I received my sacrament initiation out of order. Well, that gets into a tricky thing because really the only order that matters in sacraments is that, in order for it to be valid, is that you be baptized first. Like, you have to be confirmed to be ordained, but that's kind of the other exception. But by and large, like, if you want to receive communion, if you want to be anointed, if you want to be confirmed, great. First question is, are you baptized? And so, yes, the historical proper order, or the ancient proper order, is baptism, confirmation, Eucharist. And there's a movement within the life of the church to restore that norm, which you can get married only being baptized. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to be confirmed to be married, despite what many bishops say and require. That one annoys me so much. Because, like, I'll have people be like, well, we live in this diocese where that's not required, but we're getting married in another diocese, and they require it. And it's like, no, they literally canonically cannot. Anyway, that's another thing. But anyway, yeah, so, like, but throughout the history of the Western Church, we adapted it to be baptism, Eucharist, confirmation. Still valid. I was baptized first, but received my first communion before my first reconciliation. That's totally fine. You know, there's a joke. This is Hecarim Cave. That's where the magic... That's like the magic tutorial. Yeah, and I think, like, the normal thing in a modern American culture, at least, I can't speak for all of the Roman Catholic Church around the world, but it is to have your first confession. But that's to get children into the habit of going to confession. Like, that's the idea, but it's not required. Like, there is nothing canonically or theologically required, because here's the thing. If there's the joke that it's like there are two kinds of people that need to be that need to go to confession before receiving the Eucharist. Those in a state of mortal sin and 8-year-olds. You know, it's highly unlikely. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. Reconciliation is required before confirmation. It's... no, it's not, actually. It's not. if you are to celebrate a sacrament as an adult, or after you have the age of reason, you are strongly recommended and encouraged to go to confession before you receive that sacrament. So it's like before your wedding, go to confession. Before your confirmation, go to confession. But it's not technically required because, like, again, you could baptize someone, then give them confirmation. And in an emergency, like let's say, I went over to the hospital because a baby was going to die, I would baptize them and confirm them. Yeah, and it's highly unlikely for an 8-year-old to do a mortal sin. Not impossible. I live in New York, but but yeah, like, I think that's designed to get kids. I think the idea behind it is to get kids going to confession before they go to communion as a habit. I don't know if it necessarily works. I don't say that as like a judgment. I'm just saying, like, I haven't done sociological studies to find out the effectiveness of that versus doing it other ways. But yeah, like, we have historical record of like what it was to give, like when a child used to be baptized in the West, because confirmation reserved for bishops only. And I think this is why we wound up splitting out the order, because in the East, priests can do chrismation, or confirmation, as we call it, chrismation as they call it. And so you would have to wait. But we have texts describing baptisms wherein after a mass, the priest would take the parents to the baptismal font, they'd baptize the baby, and the priest would bring with him the chalice with the precious blood in it. And he would dip his finger into the precious blood and then put his finger into the mouth of the baby so that the baby would commune. So, like, literally from early in life. And you have to remember, this baby is maybe a week old at this point because, it's the Middle Ages. You're not waiting a couple months to baptize and coordinate and call family and make it happen. It's just, you're going to do it. And in the East, in the Christian East, the Byzantine tradition and the Oriental tradition, they do that. They'll baptize a baby, they'll chrismate the baby, and then they'll commune the baby. So you have my first communion and first confession in 9th grade. That is a little odd in terms of like a faith formation aspect, but it in no way invalidates things, Brett. That sounds... It could just be a San Antonio thing. It could have been... That may have been the bishop at the time. Like, that was his directive of, like, this is how I want things done. And he has that right, So, But yeah, the whole we have to have a first reconciliation before we have a first communion is... There's no theological reason. I mean, I was thinking of faith formation in terms of, like, if it was like tied to your school, if you went to Catholic school, where like they just kind of maybe changed things one year and forgot, because I could see that because life happens. Yeah, Denver's switched to doing confirmation and first communion at the age of reason, and I imagine they do those at the same mass, which is kind of cool in its own way. My grandfather was confirmed at quite a young age, actually. I have a picture of him. It's really cool. So yeah, that's... so in no way is doing it in a different order invalidating. It just is different. It would only be invalid if you were tried to be confirmed and you weren't baptized yet. Wait. I'm having a thought. The dome in the future... We got there at some point. The number of teens who got confirmed at 16 because their parents forced them to is already astronomically high. Yeah. And confirmation's a tricky one partially because of language, because we feel like, oh, that means... Fortunately, my parents told me that it was your decision. Well, there you go. And there is a validness in making a decision about receiving a sacrament for yourself. But, you know, sometimes you'll hear people talk about, oh, well, confirmation is great because it's the sacrament of confirming your faith and making it your own and making an adult decision on your faith. No! No, that's literally anathema. The Council of Trent literally says this is not a sacrament of confirming your faith. It is... The word confirmation comes from a Latin word. I forget exactly what it is, but it has a very different meaning. So it's like, whew. Would a parent really not let their child get confirmed? Potentially. If that was their decision, I mean, yeah. We received really poor reconciliation catechesis growing up and didn't feel ready to go to confession because I didn't, on a practical level, know what I was supposed to. Yeah, and I think that's part of the idea of having kids do it before First Communion. But yeah. What does that mean to not be confirmed? It means to not have received the sacrament. And you can go your whole life as a Christian and as a Catholic and not receive that sacrament. It is good, and it is good for yourself and for your salvation to receive it. It is a sacrament after all, but, you know, technically it's not required because of how things have historically shaken out in the West. Yeah, and that just sounds like you were just kind of caught up in an unfortunate situation where you as a child didn't have the full ability, but, you know, God draws straight with crooked lines and has brought you to the sacrament and to know it, so, you know. So a Catholic at the age of reason can receive communion without confirmation? Yes. We've been doing that for centuries. Remember seeing our Bishop Flores on the news because he was being held hostage. Oh my. Talked to me to let him go. That's awesome. That's powerful. Did I ever show you an example? Yeah, that sounds just like an oversight. Well, when Bren was brought into the church, she was brought in as an adult, so she would have received the sacraments in the order of baptism, confirmation, Eucharist. I imagine, at least. Yeah, I mean, if you go to an Easter Vigil, that's how it will... Yeah, Easter Vigil Mass. That's how it flows. You do the baptisms then you do the confirmations, and then you go into the liturgy of the Eucharist. I do love me some Easter Vigil. We had an amazing Easter Vigil last year. You can't wait to go to one? Yeah. Salvation history wrapped up into a single 3-ish hour mass. Ours was, I think, 4.5 hours, which was awesome. We did every reading. We had 12 baptisms and 22 confirmations. Best night of the church year. Well, yeah, and also in your tradition, Breaker, I love the how you do the liturgy of light with the waving of the candles. No, stole my tonic, stupid rat. Yeah, there's one year I had the privilege of going to an Orthodox Easter Vigil service liturgy because our Easters are often on different dates, and that year it was way different. So like all the craziness of Easter had already like calmed down for me. So I was like, oh cool, second Easter. It is also wild to think that once all the Eucharist is consumed, the tabernacle is empty until Easter Vigil. Yeah, I mean, it's a little more complicated than that because, like, you know, Holy Thursday, you consecrate the Eucharist to reserve for Friday, for Holy Friday. But oftentimes, you'll still have some left, and you'll take it back to usually the sacristy where you have the tabernacle of repose. But, like, the main tabernacle is empty, yeah. We have this one ciborium here in the church that we use at we consecrate hosts full of it on Holy Thursday and then use it for Good Friday, and it holds 600 hosts. Yeah, so after the liturgy on Friday, some places will, you know, they'll have the clergy consume the extra hosts. Other places, they'll save it and they'll leave it for the Vigil Mass and Easter to be used and brought back and incorporated. Yeah, like this thing around is like as big and wide as my hand. It's huge. It's awesome. The benefits of working in an old church is we have a lot of cool stuff just from throughout our history. We take our Jesus off the big crucifix during Good Friday service. It's called the Unnailing Vespers. I have not been to that, but I would love to go sometime. I have heard it is beautiful and deeply moving. Okay, so that got us a new light portal here, and no. Juice Canyon. Good Good Friday's the one day a year I can't receive Eucharist. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what we did. Maybe this isn't the place I need to go. Because this is 1000. I'm trying to remember because we have. I mean, we cannot cover every single crucifix we have in our church. That there's one we literally physically cannot get to safely. So that one's out of the question. But we have this very large one. It's like probably about 10 feet tall. And it weighs 3 tons. I don't know how they even got it in there in the first place. But I'm trying to remember if we covered that one or not. I legitimately just... Easter was such a blur. It was a joyful blur, but a blur, so I can't really remember the details. All of Holy Week is a vibe. It is. I mean, it's literally the High Holy Days. Also excited for Advent. Advent is, I think, my favorite season personally. So, like, I am always hyped for Advent. So this is where we got chased off. But I'm like, this means Easter could happen. Terrorists! What is going on?
What terrorists?
Fine, be that way. I haven't really had deeply powerful moving Holy Week. I don't really know how to spend the week and guide myself through it. That's fair. There are, like, sort of books of reflection that you might look into. Hear me out. Gaudete Sunday. Counterpoint. Laetare Sunday.
You're just in time. It's the finest work. Ultimate in defense for my daughter.
Thank you, Tabin. I do like that you can equip people who aren't in your party. That is such a nice quality of life thing. Only Catholic in your family, so essentially you're alone. Yeah, I hear that, and that's valid. But, you know, ask maybe in the Goth Discords of recommendations. Esther got home church on Christmas Eve, listened to the letters of Santa Claus, Jared Tolkien's children. That's sweet. There you go. See? Britt has the reflections for you. It's like the joy and smiles and weather and more candles. Mel confirmed pyro. Oh, so we could do this really quickly. So this guy was like a jerk in the past, or he had been a jerk because he was like, I'm so greedy. But we went to the past and we gave his ancestors some meat for free, and he's like, I'm gonna teach my children the value of generosity. I wish my husband were a little less generous. The person I like the most, my dad, of course. I love my daddy. Share and share alike. Help the needy. Thinking about making that the town motto. See, he's a good guy.
Everyone thinks Dad's generous. Does that mean they think he's cool? Who knows?
Slowly getting spiritually hit by a truck. Oof. Sometimes it be like that, though. I do not remember where I'm supposed to go at all to get this time portal. So there's a time portal somewhere that will take me to the other continent. Gonna go walk the doggy. Hey, you take care, Roxy. Probably actually gonna wrap up. I'm gonna wrap up a little early today. I'm feeling a little cooked from lack of sleep. So I think this is actually where we're gonna call it for the day. A little early, I know, but brain no thinky at this point. But glad we got the tech issues sorted out so that stop dropping frames. We love technology so much. Really, this is later than you. Well, no. On Mondays I go to 6 usually. Mother Goose hit me with Proverbs 16:31. Gray hairs, crown of glory. It is gain for righteous life. Let's go. I hadn't heard that one. That's a good one. I love. I forget the psalm, but it's God sets the lonely in families. That is one of my favorite lines in Scripture. Not just emotionally harder, but just harder in understanding. The Mass was talking about how God worked through the history and bringing salvation for all. Yeah, that's why I love Eucharistic Prayer 4, because it literally is the story of salvation history every time. And it incorporates the Eucharist into that very actively. Because, like, hey, here's the history. Here's what Jesus did. Here's what the Spirit does. We call upon that same Spirit to make the Eucharist present. That's why I did EP4 at GothCon. It is great. In Spanish, wants to normal. That's all good. Yeah, and every other day it's still 5. So God sets the lonely in families. Yeah. Yeah. Psalm 68. Thank you, Brett. Thank you. Yeah. Glad you were in the right mind. You absolutely were. Going from Good Friday service to visit several other churches nearby until sometime past midnight with some of the other people was certainly a valuable experience. That sounds like a really powerful experience. So, but yeah, so I think we're going to call it there for the day. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today, have this great conversation. Keep working our way through Chrono Trigger. This next part is honestly one of my favorites. There's some great artwork in it too. So, do I have time to God sets the lonely in families? Yeah, I mean it's a part of a psalm that's kind of speaking to the misery of loneliness and this reality of, like, it specifically kind of goes on to talk about the widows and the orphans. This is a similar like who God is specifically reaching out to, but in general, that sense that God sees those who are lonely and puts us with people who will be our family. Not necessarily a genetic, biological family, but a family in the sense of community, faith community, online community. You know, it is God desires us and has made us to be in relationship and to be in communities. And so, you know, God's spirit moves in and through us and says to the lonely, here is a place for you to belong. And it's not always necessarily like a magic, like God physically picks them up and drops them down. But, you know, it speaks very personally, powerfully to me because it has resonated with some of the tougher times of my life where I have felt lonely and then have found a family to help me in it and through it. And certainly my biological family is part of that. And I feel very blessed to have my biological family. But there are other families in my life as well that I have been a part of, am a part of, etc., and feel that I have been placed there by God to help with the loneliness. So it speaks powerfully to me. So why has no one showed me this psalm before? Yeah, well, there's a lot in the Psalms that should be shared more. So, but I hope, you know, sit and pray with it. It's a good one. Take it to your spiritual director. Be like, let's talk about this. But anyway, I am going to wrap up here. So thanks so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. Join us again tomorrow for more Spiritfarer. Join us again on Wednesday for Midweek Minecraft. Join us again on Thursday for more Castlevania 4. And thank you to everyone who's liked, shared, subscribed, given bits, checked out the Discord, checked out the YouTube. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you tomorrow, and let's see who's live to raid into. Well, since he was involved in 2 raids of us, I think it's fitting to be a raid on him. We're going to raid young Blake. He just started. So, you know, timing, he's not even on screen yet. Kneecap raid. That, you know what? That's the raid called. Kneecap raid. We're going with it. It's 10 out of 10. We got nothing else. Spam that meat borp. All right. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Take care and God bless.